Do you remember sitting in your 20s and thinking, by 30, I'll have it all figured out? Yeah, me too. And then 30 hit, and instead of having answers, I had more questions. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Cashflow Queen, and I teach content creators how to monetize their presence on social media. But today we are going to talk about a very touchy topic, which is how to reevaluate, reset, and refocus in your 30s. Now, I want to preface this by saying I am 29. I am turning 30 this year, but I think I'm kind of qualified to talk about this topic, and I'll explain why further along in the video. I had a goal of mine from the age of 18, and I achieved that goal 1 decade later, which was 28. And I honestly thought that I would feel a lot more accomplished by achieving that goal, and that was not the case. Your 30s aren't about achieving the goals that you set in your 20s. They are about resetting the goal setting system itself. By the end of this video, you will walk away with a framework to audit your current goals, release what is not serving you, and build a roadmap to fit who you are becoming right now. Now, let's talk about the 20s versus the 30s goal shift. If I had to guess, I would say in your 20s, and even myself included as well, my goals were much more external. So it was filled with status, salary, threshold, Instagram aesthetics, basically checking the boxes that society hands you. By 25, I'll have this nice car. By 30, I'll be a millionaire. The problem with those goals is that you're setting goals for a version of yourself that you have not met yet. You were performing adulthood, but not living it. In your 30s, the question changed. It's not about am I impressing people or what will impress people, but now the question is, what will sustain me? What makes me happy? What are my internal goals? It's not how do I get there fast, but is this even where I want to go? The reset is not failure, it's evolution. A ship doesn't crash because it changes its course. A ship crashes when it refuses to change its course, knowing that it's heading towards a rock. Think of one goal that you are chasing right now and ask yourself, did you choose it or did it choose you? Now, we are going to talk about the 3-bucket system. In these 3 buckets are goals. Bucket 1, goals that we need to keep going in our 30s. Bucket 2, goals that we need to trash or leave it in the bucket. And bucket 3, goals that needs a bit of revision. So on to bucket 1. These are goals that we will be keeping in our 30s. Goals that still feel like they're your own goals. It excites you when you just think of them. It's not inherited by family, culture, or comparison. Goals that align with your current values, not with your past insecurities. It's not from, oh, when I was smaller, I wanted a red toy car and my mom says no. So at the age of 30, I'm grinding so I can buy myself that red car. It is stemming from past insecurities. Those are goals that we gonna put in bucket number 2. The next type of goal, goals that energize you instead of draining you when you think of them. Name one goal, you can put it in the comment section below, that excited you 5 years ago and it still does right now. That's a keeper. Now on to bucket number 2. So these are goals that we gonna leave in our early 20s or we gonna trash them in our 30s. Ask yourself this, what am I holding on to for the sake of sunken costs, or I feel obligated to them? It might be a goal that you've spent 4 years doing and you think that, okay, I'm not very enthused about this goal anymore, but I've spent 4 years of my life. I've spent X amount of money on this goal, so I must continue. I can't quit now. And I'm here to tell you that you can. And you're not losing time, you're buying back your future. Imagine at the age of 60, 80, if we live to see that long, you're there on your bed and you're thinking, wow, I spent all my life chasing this goal that wasn't even mine to begin with. On to the next type of goal that we are going to trash in our 30s, the should goals. These are goals where, for example, these are the career paths that you pursued because your parents would be proud. I've heard that so many times. I'm blessed to not be in that situation, but I've heard it so many times time. My parents wanted me to be a doctor, so I became a doctor. My parents, but it's never what you want to do. The business you started because everyone else is starting. Everyone is doing XYZ business, so now I want to do that as well. Those aren't your goals. They're someone else's goal. This video is permission for you to release. You are not your past ambitions. You are allowed to outgrow without apologizing. Now on to bucket number 3. These are goals that we are going to revise. They're still good goals, but it needs a little bit of shaping. These are goals that was right in spirit, but wrong in execution. Number 1, I want to make $100,000 a year. Instead of having that as a goal, revise it into I want to build a flexible income so I can buy my freedom, so I can fund my freedom and peace of mind. Because a lot of the times, myself included as well, I don't necessarily have a ceiling to what I want to earn. I want to earn enough to fund my freedom and my peace of mind. That is my goal going into my 30s. Next goal that we need to revise. For example, I want to be married at 32. Instead of putting a number now, when you're 31, you're going to think, Lord have mercy, I haven't found someone. So you're just going to marry the first person that you meet. And you don't want to be in that situation. That situation can be very costly. So what we do is we are going to revise that goal. That goal is now going to look like I want to cultivate a loving and healthy partnership whenever it comes. The next goal that we want to tweak, social media growth. I want to get to 100,000 followers. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers. We want to revise that goal to sound something like I want to build a deeply engaged community, a loyal community that trusts me. I want to build a loyal community of 5,000 people that trust me. Because if we're being honest, a lot of the metrics that we fixate on, they are vanity metrics. And a lot of the times, vanity metrics, it doesn't really mean anything, to just put it bluntly. You don't have to abandon your dream. You just have to tweak or reshape your dream to fit the person that you are today, or the person that you are now. On to segment 3, redefining ambition in your 30s. In this segment, I am going to challenge the hustle mentality, and I want to give it a new definition. The old definition of ambition was to outperform, outgrow, outshine, go, no sleep, no rest, grind, more, faster, higher. The 30s reset definition is intentional, sustainable, aligned, and enough. And I want to key in on the word enough. For years, I thought ambition meant to never be satisfied. Now I know that true ambition is building a life that you don't need to constantly escape from, because that is not living. AKA, you have a 9-to-5 that you don't necessarily like, but you do it because it is, you are climbing the corporate ladder. You're getting up there on the corporate ladder, but you are not happy there. That's not where you want to be. But because you can get vacation, 2 weeks a year, you're fine with that. And the 2 weeks that you spend on vacation, you're going to spend the rest of the year thinking about that 2 weeks for vacation. To me, that is not living. To me, that is building a life that you constantly need a vacation from. So when we look at ambition, instead of saying that our goal is to make this amount and that amount, that you can make $1 million a year and you spend in $2 million. What is that going to leave you with, right? But if your goal is to build a life, a flexible income to fund your peace of mind, that goal is going to look very, very different in your 30s. Now, let's talk about the quiet ambition narrative. In your 30s, it might look slower, like slower growth, less posting, less chasing. I can attest to that. I mean, again, I am 29. I'm going to be 30 this year, but I find myself unplugging from so many things, including social media as well. That is a big one for me, because I felt like in my 20s, especially my early 20s, I was chasing goals that weren't my own, and I had to take a step back to really evaluate, self-evaluate, and do a lot of internal work to then realize what exactly is important to me. So on the outside, your 30s might look slower, but on the inside, you are building a foundation, you're growing roots. You are building a foundation that does not crack under pressure. Now, let us talk about how to actually set goals now. Replace the old goal system or the old goal setting system with a sustainable one. The problem with New Year's resolution is that it's external, it's performative, and it's tied to a calendar date, not your life's rhythm. A better framework would be a more seasonal approach based on the season of your own life. So for us to all collectively say as a nation that on January 1st, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Everyone has their different seasons in life. So my season is different from your season. And we have to understand that when we're setting goals. Not because someone attained the same goal that you have when they're 18 means that you might need a decade more. You might get it before, you might get it after, but everyone has different seasons, and we need to understand that. These are the 3 questions that you should ask yourself before setting your goals. Number 1, does this goal align with my current value and not my past insecurities? Number 2, does this goal respect my energy and capacity and not my ego? Number 3, and this is a very good one, if no one watched, clapped, or paid me, would I still want to do it? If you have a goal in your journal, on your vision board, where you answered all the above questions positively, then that's a goal that you want to bring over into your 30s. Now we are going to talk about the emotional side of goal setting, or the emotional side of the reset. Letting go of a goal, especially goals that you've had for decades, it can be tough, and we need to acknowledge that. So we're going to acknowledge the grief, the loss of the goal, and the fear of starting over. They're real, valid emotions. It's okay to grieve old goals. You've spent years dreaming, envisioning yourself doing that thing, and it just slipped away. You made the decision to step back for any of the reasons that we outlined earlier on in the video. It takes time. It takes time to grieve that, and we also have to acknowledge that as well. It is not silly feeling sad to release the goals. And then comes the fear of judgment. What will my parents say? What will my family think? What will people think if I downsize? What would people think if I admit that I was wrong? And I want to tell you this, the people who genuinely love you, they will eventually understand, and they'll eventually be happy for you that you chose peace and not impression. And for the people who are judging you, they're not living your life. You're the one looking yourself in the mirror every single morning, every single night. You're the one going to bed with whatever goals that are on your mind, and you are pushing them aside because of whatever reason. You are the one that have to live with that. And then comes the identity shift. Okay, so these goals, I know they're not mine anymore, but then that means, who am I? You are the person who evolved. You are the person who got honest with yourself. You are the person brave enough to build a second life with the wisdom of the first one. Your 30s are the decades where you stop performing your life and start living it. Actually, it's not a loss. It's the whole point. The great reset is not about starting from zero. It's about returning to yourself. Not the self you thought you would be, but the self that you actually are. You don't have to overhaul everything today. You can pick one goal, one bucket, one question, and sit with it this week. Here is a journal prompt for you as well. If I remove all the external expectation, what would I secretly love to build, to pursue, or become? Comment one goal that you're putting in the trash bucket today, and let us all release together. I'll start mine below. And make sure to save this video for your next quarterly reset and share it with a friend who you think is also in their wait, what am I doing era. However your reset is unfolding, uncertainly, messy, slowly, it's valid. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're just updating the map. And that's exactly what your 30s are for. If you like this video, please let YouTube know by liking and subscribing. It helps us to get pushed out to more people who needs to hear this message. I feel as though a lot of young people, myself included as well, I've went through this, felt as though our 30s, we should have everything all figured out, but that's just not how life is. And when we get that rude awakening, it's almost like the walls are crumbling down, anxiety, depression, and all of those negative things. I hope that this video helped you in a really positive way, and feel free to comment down below what goals you're revising, what goals you're putting in the trash, and what goals you're keeping going into your 30s. Or if you are already in your 30s, what goals you have kept, what goals you have revised, and what goals you had to trash. A lot of us can really learn from each other, right? Whether we are in our early 20s, mid 20s, or we're in our 30s. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you next week.